Hey, Bob and Sheri, this is Dwayne from Kentucky. I had a quick gardening question for Bob. I'm tending the garden outside, and I've got weeds that I need to pull. Could you give me some advice? Is it best to pull the weeds out, roots and all, and then leave the weeds there as though they'll decompose and then add the nutrients to the garden? Or should I carry them off and get them as far away from the garden as possible? So there's the question. And also, I was wondering, is it at all possible to have a Bob Gardens podcast where he just sits and tells us all the knowledge that he's learned about gardening and other tidbits that he might want to share? I thought that'd be a good idea. I hope you all are doing well.
What do
you think, Bob?
Was he making fun of me? Do you think
No,
I couldn't get a total?
So.
Really?
I don't think so.
I think he's legit.
He was making fun of you.
Okay. A podcast
About your
Let's
gardening
see,
strategies.
About my gardening.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I
Oh,
could
look,
do
Max
that.
is producing it for you as we speak.
Hi there, everybody, and welcome to my gardening podcast, which I like to call "Just Because I'm in the Dirt Doesn't Mean I'm Dead." Very nice to have you with me here today.
It's a good title. I can see it on
Thank
T-shirts.
you. Yeah, thank you. We have a question from one of my podcast listeners about weeds. These weeds. We have to deal with them. And that is really life, isn't it? We cannot have a garden in life without weeds, because if we did not have weeds, everything would be perfect and then it would become boring. And that's why God invented weeds. So the question is, what do we do with the weeds? I have found that a really interesting and delicious way to deal with weeds is to pull the weed up. Our listeners said, should I throw it, get it away from the garden so it doesn't spread again? Or should I just leave it there and let it become part of the mulch? I try to pull them up, and I put them in my little gardening wagon that I got from my wife. And then at the end of my weeding, I take all of the weeds inside and make a delicious salad. You'd be surprised how nutritious some of these weeds are. And when you hit it with a honey mustard glaze, it's just fantastic. Well, that's it for today. Thanks very much, and get back on your knees. What do you think?
It's not only gardening with Bob, it's cooking with Bob. I mean, we're gardening and cooking. That's good.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah.
Did you like the way I closed it out? Get back on your knees. Did you like
it? Yeah. Mm-hmm. This episode of In the Dirt with Bob, Gardening, what was the exact title? Just because you're in the dirt doesn't mean you're dead, was brought to you by Scott's.
Right.
Yeah, I think we could probably work on that.
Yeah, that's
And it doesn't have to be long. It could be like 5 or 6 minutes, just one gardening tip per episode. What do you think?
Why would you make it short? You think I would be boring,
No. I think if I make it short, you'll do it. That's why I'll make it.
Yeah, that's true. I'll tell you what, gardening is exhausting. I've just discovered, you know what I did last weekend? I got this long piece of plastic, and it surrounds 75% of the flower garden, so that it's an edge, right? So that the garden has an edge. And you have to drive in plastic nail. I feel terrible that it's plastic. You have to drive in plastic nails into the dirt every foot. And it's 65 feet around. And I was on my knees pulling weeds and driving these nails into the dirt for like 2 hours. I was exhausted. Totally, because it was hot. Gardening is real work. There's no two ways about it. When I got started, I just pictured myself, standing next to Martha Stewart, and the two of us with our hands in dirt. Isn't this great dirt? Yeah, Martha, it's fantastic dirt. And then like trimming the flowers a little bit. Most of gardening is just back-breaking work, is what it comes down to.
Well, Bob, Martha has people like you that are actually doing the work when the cameras turn off.
That's what I've
Like
discovered.
Martha's a visionary. Like she has the
Right.
ideas and she does get her hands dirty. But if you think that Martha is single-handedly maintaining those 125 acres or whatever in Connecticut and those
she's
special
not-
pedigree chickens, think again.
Instant access to the podcast, oddcast, fun size, and more with the free Bob and Sheri app.
Finn, my dog, who I love so much, has bronchitis. I haven't mentioned what he has, but I mentioned that he's been coughing a lot. So I took him to the vet, and $350, and they did an X-ray, and you could see it in the X-ray. And so we got 3 medications to help him. And while we were there, the tech was saying, "Well, here are the 3 medications. You want to give this one?" I said, "Could you give him the medication before I leave here?" And she said, "Sure, let me get a pill pocket." And she got one of these Greenies pill pockets, which are probably about $1.50 each because it's a Greenies. Anybody who has a dog and you give them a Greenie, you know how much those things cost. And I watched her and she popped it into this little pill pocket. He took it right away. The next one, he took it right, 3 of them in a row, he took right away. The next day, I go out and buy the pill pocket thing. And I put it in there. He won't eat it. He will not eat it. He ate it for her right away. And for me, he just knows that I'm up to something. At the vet's, it was like, "Oh, here's an extra treat." I came here and I got an extra treat. I love this. But he knows that I'm up to something, and he can eat around the pill and spit the pill out. So Mary mixed the pills into his food. He ate around the pills and left them. So now we are holding him, and I'm going, "I hate to do this, buddy, but you got to have this." And we open his mouth. He's clenched his jaw tight. We opened his mouth, and I pop it in to try to get it so he'll swallow it. And just when we think that he swallowed it, we notice it just falls from the left-hand side of his mouth. He was hiding it in his gum.
They're so smart.
They're so smart.
Yeah.
It is driving me out of my mind. He's so clever. I've tried coating it with peanut butter. Doesn't work. We'll lick the peanut butter and then hide it in his lip and then spit it out. It's driving me out of my mind because I want this dog to get better, and he's not working with me. He is not working with me.
It's the hardest thing when you have to give them medicine and they can tell. Like
Yeah.
poor Sam Nash, there was nothing that dog would not put in his mouth and eat unless I had sneaked some medicine into it. And then it was like the four brain cells that he had would all join together for the first time and go, "She's tricking you." It was just the craziest thing.
It is the craziest thing. And it's not
So
like these
nutty.
pills, they don't taste like anything probably, or if they have a little bit of bitterness, it's no big deal. And I'm coating it, with a very expensive treat.
If I was going to start my own Riot Girl punk band, I would name it Pilling the Cat, and everyone would immediately understand how violent and out of control and unreasonable we were.
Bob, the thing about it is Mojo will eat fried chicken bones that have been thrown out of a car on the side of the road that have been sitting there for 4 days. He'll go right after that. But when it comes to a pill, he'll get coy. Like, what's going on there? I don't know if I can trust what you're putting in my mouth.
I know.
Despite the fact that you've been putting good things in my mouth throughout the time, and I've been able to trust you on most things. But I'd really rather eat this chicken bone that came from God knows where that's on the side of the road.
It's so true. So it's not just my dog, right?
No.
How about your dog? How about your dog, Lamar?
She takes pills pretty good, and we get the pill
Darby's
pockets.
smart. Darby
we
can
get the-
open the Tylenol bottle. Like Darby's smart. Come on.
Yeah. We get the pill pockets that are not the greenies. We get the ones that are different. Those pill pockets, they work fine. Now, when she does her heart medicine, we give her the heart medicine. Then she goes into the living room and she sets it down, and she looks at it and she'll flip it back and forth and back and forth, and she'll pick it up and spit it out, and then all of a sudden she'll take it. Yeah.
She'll take it?
Yeah.
You're so lucky.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
driving me. It's
Yeah.
absolutely driving me out of
It
my
is
mind.
frustrating. I know what you're saying. That is so frustrating.